fulfillment and growth that comes through healthy relationships. We're wired for relationships. So tune in and join with me as I explore and discuss tools for healthy relationships. Every Monday, 12:15 p.m. on Isaac 98.1 FM.
At this time, I want to say good afternoon to Petreece. Petreece, how are you doing on this Monday afternoon? Good to have you with me once again.
I'm glad to be here. This weekend was rough, but I made it. By God's grace.
Amen.
Yes. I'm looking forward to probably an hour or two sleep.
Excellent.
During this day.
I don't know why I feel the same way like you. I don't know why.
Yeah. We have those times.
Excellent.
But we thank God for life.
Amen.
We thank God for life, and His grace. Yeah.
Yes, we are here again. We are here again. And so what do you have in store for us today, Petreece?
So, we continuing with that series, Emotional Needs in a Relationship. So what I'll be doing next few sessions is really expanding on what I would have shared. So I would have shared on those 10 emotional needs in a relationship. So I want to expand on affection and acceptance today. So just hello and welcome to all our viewers, all our listeners. Really praying that these programs are an encouragement and that they empower. Thank you for feedback, because I got some feedback on WhatsApp. Really thankful. It feels good when people say, okay, what you're doing making a difference in my life. I must admit. I know one of my love languages is words of affirmation. So yes, that feels good. So thank you for those who reached out and shared that the program is making a difference. And I'm thanking God for this station, and their continued efforts and desires to bring life and wholeness into families. So just a brief recap. We all have physical needs. We know them: food, shelter, clothing. If we have to live healthy lives, our physical needs must be met at a particular level. And so it is also in terms of our intimate relationships. And remember, when I'm talking about intimate relationships here, I'm talking about friendships, I'm talking about parent-child relationships, talking about marriage relationships, right? If we're in courting relationships. So it's important in these relationships that our emotional needs have to be met for the relationship to be healthy. And emotional needs really is feelings or emotions. We need to feel peace, to feel happy, to feel content. And when our emotional needs are not met, we may feel frustrated, unhappy, dissatisfied in the relationship. So we all have emotional needs. But each of us can have a different set of needs, or what is important to me might not be as important to you. And we have those differences, of course, because of our childhood experiences, because of the differences in our personalities, and just because we are all individuals. All right. And because of that, you can see how it will become very important for us to communicate and to share what we need in our relationships. So the 10 emotional needs to consider, and these emotional needs are highlighted by, if you do across the board. So psychiatrists, psychologists, whether they're Christians, non-Christians, these are the 10 that are definitely you see coming up in all the lists, right? So although every relationship looks a little bit different, these 10 emotional needs are a good starting point for considering in our intimate relationships, right? These are good starting point. And what are they? They are affection, acceptance, validation, autonomy, security, trust, empathy, connection, space, and prioritization. So these are the needs that I'll be looking at. And as I would have said in the last program, we have to remember certain things and we have to think on certain things. And I think I'm going to be sharing this in every one of these programs just to make sure that we get these points. There are other emotional needs. First thing, there are other emotional needs. So for example, some people may have a need for intellectual stimulation in a relationship, for a sense of achievement, a sense of meaning, right? And when a relationship doesn't have these things, the person could feel frustrated. Emotional needs can change over time. So remember and consider there are other emotional needs. So these 10 this is not an exhaustive list, right? But these are main that most people would have and need to be met in healthy, intimate relationships. So there are other emotional needs. Your emotional needs can change over time. As time passes, you grow and you heal and you can discover needs that you did not consider, because sometimes we're in survival mode, And when we're in survival mode, certain things, I don't care if anybody tell me they like me or not, I just want to eat. We in a different space, right? Sometimes because you're just too afraid to be open to those things. So sometimes it feels very vulnerable for me to even consider certain things about myself. Or past relationships, we could have come out of relationships that would have taught us how important certain needs are. Or even sometimes in our relationships, like in marriages and stuff, as you grow, you start to realize that there are emotional needs that have not been met in the relationship for them to be healthy. So it can change. We could start to realize things about ourselves that we didn't realize before, even things that we would have buried because of disappointment, because I may have been growing up or in a relationship hoping to get a need met, and it wasn't. And therefore, what I did in order to protect myself is to go into that space of, I don't need this. I am okay without this. But it will keep coming up. Yeah? We have different emotional needs, and I kind of said that. So needs vary from person to person. What one person values, is very important, could be different for another person. And that, again, is why there must be effort. We must put in effort in communicating our emotional needs in a relationship. And also not just communicating the emotional needs, but discussing ways to get these needs met. Because there are needs and there are behaviors. What are the behaviors in order to meet these needs? And this one is so critical. No one can meet all your emotional needs. No one can do that. And no one should be your source for love, belonging, and significance. That is God. God should be your source. So while I could add and I could let people know that I love them and I care for them, and by my words and my actions I could make them feel good, I am not the source, because I would never be enough to fill that love tank that a person has, right? So no one, right, should be your source for love, for belonging, and for significance. Very critical. Emotional needs play an important part in relationship satisfaction. If they are fulfilled, you feel contented, loved, or respected. When they go unmet, you feel frustrated, hurt, or confused. However, one person may not be able to meet your need in the way or depth you want, and you need to consider other healthy ways to have those needs met. And I would have shared some of that last program. A healthy, growing relationship with God as our source is an important aspect of having our emotional needs met. And we have to understand a very big part of having healthy relationships with others is also having a healthy relationship with God, a healthy understanding of ourselves, a healthy evaluation of us, of who you are as a person, all right, and getting needs met through our relationship with God and who He is to us and what He says about us. Now, feelings are created by behaviors and thinking, right? How I behave is going to create a feeling, right? How I think also impacts feelings. So once we're talking about emotional needs, we are also talking about what are the behaviors necessary to meet these emotional needs. All right, so we're talking about that. So the first one I'm going into, what I want to share on today, affection and appreciation, acceptance. Oh, sorry, wrong A. Affection and appreciation. No, I did it again. Acceptance, affection and acceptance. Right? So affection is the expression of care. It symbolizes security, protection, comfort, and approval, right? And these are vital ingredients in any relationship. Affection is the glue that holds relationships, together. Affection is what helps us to feel like we're in community, and we are wired for community. God made us for community. It's interesting that even God is community in himself, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And so affection creates that glue that holds us together, but it also is what makes us feel wanted and secure in community. Affection is something that you show. Affection is something that you show. Affection is something that you give. As stated earlier, it is the experience of care. So to say that there's affection, I feel cared for. I feel cared for, right? You feel cared for and loved, right? Now, feelings are internal. Feelings are internal, right? But affection is something we experience, something we give and receive, and it could take some work. When you are in a healthy relationship, you choose to or you want to do the things that make your loved one feel cared for, or in other words, you want to do the things that meet their need for affection. We can have feelings of care and affection for your loved one all day long. So all day long, I could be thinking, oh, I really care for Tiffany, how I care for Tiffany. All day long, I'm thinking about that. But that will never meet a need for affection if I don't do something about it. Right? So I could be thinking about that whole day. She don't know I'm thinking about that. Right? We need to do something to show it. For example, when we start a relationship, we giving gifts, we having two-way conversation, we spending time together, we giving compliments, etc. We're doing something to show the affection, right? And important to remember, we show affection differently in different relationships. And of course, that's understandable, right? Just think about how you show, let's say, affection to your parents, siblings, friends, and if you're married, to your spouse. It would be different for different relationships, and it may also be different in terms of the different people that you interact with, because each person is unique. So how I may show one sibling affection may be different to how I may show another sibling affection, right? Because we are unique. So that very important, we understand that affection is different in different relationships. So just going into a little more in depth, how do you go about showing affection in your relationships? Because affection is an emotional need. Because affection is linked with action, we can see that there are many ways to demonstrate affection for someone. How you choose to fulfill a need for affection will depend on the type of relationship that you're focused on and the person receiving the affection, right? Fulfilling someone's need for affection can be as simple as giving someone a hug, right? Holding your hand in a tense situation or a crowded space, right? Affection can be shown verbally by telling somebody how much you appreciate them, by providing words of encouragement when a person feel like they're falling apart or they feel like they're stressed. Affection can be demonstrated by meaningful conversations where people really feel listened to, right? Affection can be shown through, I send flowers for you, at your workplace or at your home, right? So there are so many different ways to show affection, and of course, we understand it is also related to the type of relationship that we are in. Now, most of us have heard of the 5 love languages, and I was doing some research and I'm seeing that a company did some research based on online personality tests, and they came up with 7 love languages. But I ain't reached there yet. I'll have to continue my studies, right? But we most of us know about the 5 love languages, and this was something done by Gary Chapman. And 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, closeness and touch, right? And your love language really has to do with the way in which you understand or receive love. So this is the way, if something is done like this is, I feel it as love, right? So it's really important. And you all can do your research, those of you all hearing this for the first time, on love languages, right? So it's like me saying I love you to somebody in English and they speak Portuguese. They're not going to understand or hear I love you. I have to learn Portuguese for them to understand it. Yeah. So we have words of affirmation, and words of affirmation, some actions can speak louder than words, right? So a person who understands, or this is how they hear I love you, things like giving them compliments, encouragement, letting them know how much you appreciate them, letting them know you admire them, telling them the things that you value, right? Those things become very important. And if we're in the same space, if you're in the same space with a person, you don't go a day without saying something complimentary to them. You don't go a day without telling them, whether it is I love you, thank you so much for this, I really appreciate what you did here, I admire how hard you work, something. And you also have to remember, if words of affirmation is a way in which a person hears I love you, you want to watch your tone. Your tone also becomes very, very important to them. And then there's quality time. So a person who has quality time as their love language, saying I love you to them really is giving them some undivided attention, where they feel like you're really focused on me, you're really listening to me, you're really hearing what I'm saying, right? That is very critical to them. And sometimes even in that quality time, sharing, disclosing things about you. So even as they share and they talk with you, they want it to be two-way. They want you to also disclose and share about yourself also. So if this is a loved one's quality time, you literally want to make time to spend with them, where you give them your undivided attention. All right. And sometimes you can even ask for a list of activities that we could do together, that you may enjoy, and plan doing it together, where they have your full attention, even in whatever it is that we are doing together. And generally, people, when quality time is their love language, they will say things that will give you a hint that they want your time, that they want to spend time with you. Right? With this, I always say be careful. Sometimes if we're not spending enough time with ourselves and with God, we could try to be getting something from a person that they cannot fulfill. Just as with words of affirmation, if I don't know that I am valuable, if I don't know that I am beautiful, if I don't know that I am good enough, in terms of how God treats me, it will be very difficult for a person to try to fill that up. What they do will never be enough. All right? And then we have gifts, and don't ever mistake gifts for a person being materialistic, right? the receiver of gift, what they're really looking at is the thoughtfulness and the effort behind the gift. So things like missing a birthday or missing an anniversary or some special day that they celebrate, or a thoughtless gift, like, oh my goodness, so you just went by the side of the road and pick up this because somebody's selling it. But I don't like teddy bears. Like, what is this about? Right? The person can really feel like you don't care. Like you don't care. Right? So if this is a person's love language, they really, really get excited when they know you're buying something for them. And remember, the gift is not about what you like, it's what the person, what they would like. So sometimes, you can keep, some people are good at keeping mental notes, when people say that they like something or they want something. But sometimes you can just keep a little notebook somewhere where as you listen to your loved ones, you hear things they like or they would like to get, and one of their love languages is gifts, and you make a note of it, and therefore you have some things to choose from when the time comes, right? And select gifts that you feel comfortable purchasing and finding, and you don't have to wait for a special occasion for a person whose love language is gifts. Sometimes a gift could be a slice of cheesecake because they like cheesecake, right? Sometimes a gift could be a pack of kurma because they like kurma. It is not about something like so extravagant. Really, it is, you were thinking about me and you know me, right? And you brought this for me. And then if acts of service is a person's love language, anything you do that makes their lives easier says I love you to them, right? Anything that could ease the burden of the responsibilities that they have. So if you're in a home and your loved one love language is acts of service, just helping out around the house, anything you do to ease that burden. Things like, let me do that for you. Oh my gosh, that's what they want to hear, or even, how can I help you? Or sure, I can help you with that. Coming by you now to pick you up. And that's the person's love language is acts of service. Oh, that feels like, yes, this person is really showing affection for me, right? So things like, like just unwillingness to help could feel like, really lack of affection, making the work harder for them could feel like you just don't care. There's no affection here, right? And then we have physical touch or closeness and touch. And this has nothing to do with sexual touch, right? A person whose this is one of their love languages, they like hugs, a pat on the back, holding hands, I see you and I greet you with a hug and a kiss. These things are important to them, right? Sometimes you're watching TV and your child wants to snuggle up next to you, right? These things are important to them, so that if we're in the same space and this is a person that your loved one's love language, you want to show affection by touching them, by a hug, a little. Some people don't like little joke and thing, but some people don't mind that. Little things. I rumple up your hair a little bit once. It's like mine. My hair can rumple up now and it's easy to fix back, right? Right? So touching, throughout the day. And then if your friend loves physical touch, when you meet them, you give them a hug, right? Things like that will say I love you to them, or show affection or meet their need for affection. Now, showing affection can be difficult for some of us because we may regard it as a sign of weakness. Some people do see affection as a sign of weakness. Also, some forms of affection may be difficult to show because they were not a part of our interaction in our family of origin. So, people come from different homes, and some homes show affection differently, and so certain types of affection, I really didn't grow up with that, so that feels so weird. It feels so weird to be given compliments often, or to be saying I love you often, or it feels strange to be hugging, so we understand that it can be difficult. It can be a work in progress to love our loved ones the way and to show that affection the way in which they would like it to. Now, giving affection can be just as important as receiving it, and can offer a person a sense of emotional release and fulfillment when they show someone how much they care. This is important. All human beings require a certain amount of affection in life. All human beings, right? And this is especially young, when we're young, babies, children, and when people are ill, it's very important to try to be a little more affectionate to them, right? But all human beings require a certain amount of affection. Now, in most of our relationship, as time goes by, we understand and accept how our loved ones show us affection. So even if they may not show us affection the way what we might consider the best way possible, we still understand the ways that they show us, and we are thankful and we accept it. But I think it's particularly important to show affection to our spouses and our children in the ways in which they receive affection. This has to do with the love language and even other things that they may explain to you, right? Which could cause us to come out of our comfort zone. So sometimes it's important to have those discussions with our very close loved ones, right? Now, whatever the actions may be, you are not bound to fulfill someone's need for affection every single day of your life. So we have all kind of people. It's not every day, every interaction I am to fulfill somebody's need for affection. All right. So don't think that is something I have to always be considering. But I'm in intimate relationships with people. The need for affection, the emotional need for affection is real. What are the things that I can do to fulfill that need? And I do it. All right. So acceptance. So what I want to look at, so that emotional need of acceptance, and remember, we're looking at how do we meet these needs, and they are based on, meeting those needs are based on what we do, right? So we're looking at, I want to look at the concept of acceptance. What is that, right? Now, our loved ones are unique. Our loved ones, just like us, right? So your loved ones, just like you, they have their own personalities, their own varying abilities and talents, their own sets of strengths and weaknesses, likes and dislikes, their own sets, of flaws, and also issues that they may be working on. And sometimes they even have their own sins that they are struggling with to continue to overcome, right? God, our creator, says in Romans 15:17, therefore accept each other just as Christ has accepted you, so that God will be glorified. I mean, it's just amazing when I look at all these different one another's in the Bible as we relate as Christians, how much it really is a God who created us with these emotional needs, and he wants them to be met, right? So acceptance has to do with understanding that everyone is a person of worth. Everyone is priceless. That is how God created, and God is the one who assigned worth, not man. So man can't take away your worth. God assigned your worth, and you are priceless. And everyone is unique. Everyone is unique, right? Acceptance does not mean that I am agreeing with your sinful behavior or your unhealthy behavior. Acceptance doesn't mean I am agreeing to be abused. No. Abuse, you need to change. I'm not accepting that, right? Acceptance means that I will treat you respectfully as a person of worth, even when I speak to you, let's say, about a fault. Yeah? When you live with someone, when you interact with someone, you have a lot of opportunity to find their flaws, and to see their flaws, because you're with them, you're interacting with them. For whatever reason, this can lead us to trying to change your loved one, trying to change a person. Only know how that is go. I don't know anybody listening to me going on that journey of trying to change someone, right? The problem of trying to change someone is that it doesn't work really well. It really doesn't. Unless your loved one wants to change, what you're doing is just fighting with them. Just fighting with them, right? And fighting is not good for your relationship. So we all have to work on accepting those who we choose to love, right? So people we choose to love are friends, spouses, those who God have placed in our lives, like our parents, children, siblings, even our church family. Acceptance is a critical emotional need in a relationship that should be fulfilled, right? We must remember that there are things about a person that are not going to change, right? Behaviors that are not, they're not sinful or they're not wrong, but it's just how you would behave. You know, it's just, so sometimes it's not how you would behave or what you would do. So you just, I don't like it. But what the person doing is not sinful or wrong. And we have to be able to know that there are some things that are just not going to change. So the proper attitude goes beyond just a mere kind of acceptance. So, okay, I accept that this person is different from me. This person is a person of worth. I should treat this person a particular way. It's more than that, in relationships, right? The idea is that if you love someone, you can appreciate, even enjoy the ways in which your loved one is different from you, right? You can choose to see these differences as flaws, so you can see them as flaws, or you can view them as something that is distinct and peculiar to this person and enjoy it and appreciate it, right? It may annoy you at times, but you learn to laugh about it. You know, in the beginning, you're a little annoyed, but then after you get to realize, wow, yeah, that's just how the person is, right? The good attitude for your relationship is to view these differences as treasured idiosyncrasies about a person, right? It is what makes your loved one special, and it brings a special type of happiness to your life, right? So, you know, like sometimes you have a friend who has the same story from the past. So every time something shared, just waiting for them to share that story. And you hear it about 10 different times. But you're just laughing. After a while, you just know them and you just laugh. All right, yeah, in your mind, you know, but it's just them. And they're just different, right? Or what we all do, right? What do all humans, adults and children need to grow? We need affection. We need acceptance. Someone to support us, encourage us, root for us, be with us when we succeed and when we fall. We don't need someone always telling us about our flaws and how we should change. Of course, we have to, if we love people, we will tell them about things they need to work on and things they need to change. If somebody that you're in a relationship with not telling you about those things, something up with the relationship. All right? But you don't want to be hearing that constantly. So, how to meet your loved ones, emotional need for acceptance. And I think most of us kind of have a sense of some of the normal actions that will show acceptance. Things like, you know, doing things together, planning activities together, sharing dreams and goals. Because if I'm sharing that with you, it means I accept you. I've invited you into my life, you know, asking for advice when making decisions, introducing people to friends and family, doing things that they like, right? Now, some of the other ways that we may not think about, don't try to control the feelings of others. And when I say that, part of acceptance is allowing people to share how they feel and not saying things like, you shouldn't feel like this or why is feeling like that, because feelings are neither right nor wrong. And it's important for us to be able to allow people to feel how they feel about things. People feel accepted when they know they could share how they feel without hearing something like, you shouldn't feel that, or why you're feeling that, right? Why you're feeling that, as we want to know what is probably the thinking and behavior that causing that. Why you're feeling that is like, you shouldn't feel that, kind of why you're feeling that, right? Don't be quick to judge. So somebody is sharing, let them share, let them explain why behind what they're sharing. Don't be quick to just judge. don't compare people. Don't compare them. If you're comparing, compare for good things. Like, you know, a real good singer, and I say Tiffany could sing. I say, Tiffany, you really remind me of this person, you know. But the way you compare people, we are all unique, and people feel not accepted when they feel compared to others, right? Share things that you really appreciate about your loved one. That makes them feel accepted. So, you know, I really appreciate this about you. I really admire this about you. Share how their differences have had a positive impact on your life. So how has their differences probably opened up things to you that you would have never thought about, never seen, never considered, how their differences have helped to make your life better, right? Be willing to learn from them. Show them that you're willing to learn and be influenced by them. When people see that we're willing to hear from them, take their advice, get a different perspective from them, they feel accepted. All right? And allowing the person to share about their life where you really listen and show an interest. So people feel accepted when they're allowed to share about their life and to feel heard, and you show an interest in it by the questions you ask, the comments you make, or even what you may do after. All right, so closing with that today. So we will continue on the series of emotional needs in a relationship. So today, just looking at those top 2 emotional needs for affection and acceptance, and what are some of the behaviors that are necessary to fulfill those needs in a relationship.
All right, Petreece. So it looks like we still have a little time. Maybe we can get some calls in. All right, so I'll take some calls.
Sure.
It's 4 minutes to the top. So let's see if we could get some calls in. 622-1981, 628-1981. Those are the numbers to call if you want to connect with Petreece at this time. 622-1981, 628-1981. If you wish to call us, you can do so at this time. I saw some comments on the Facebook Live. Let me see if I can get that for you, Petreece.
Sure.
While we wait for the persons to call, I'm hoping they call within the stipulated time so that they can get you. And let me check the WhatsApp as well. 622-1981, 628-1981. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon. I was listening to the program just a while and what happened? I was some advice. There is a good person that could keep the number to call you. It's something that I was talking about. What happened? I was in difficulty problem with family and whatnot and thing, right? And I used to pray to God and whatnot and thing, and it had this girl I know on the church but I didn't know she, as I would never used to go to church and thing. And things that she do for me make me get to like she in a way because I did like it. Right? I was working for the pastor at the church. She have a place and what I used to say about the place for him. And I get put out for my job that I was doing. I lose my job. I didn't have money to rent a place. I didn't have much to do. I was down. And I was in difficulty. I went by my mom. My mom told me like if I not she son, and I didn't have no way to go. And I started crying. I said, "Go and pray to God." And this girl name come up in my mouth. And I called she and I talked to she and she provides place for her to stay. She do things for me and make me pick up back myself but a little bit. Right? And she does things for me and that make me real like she. I was in a certain way. And yesterday I told she about it. I said, Nikki, she named Nikki. I said, Nikki, things that you have done for me make me get to like you more and I really do like you and care about you. But twice I told she about it. And she smiled and think she would be biting she lip and thing and what she remember when I tell she. But she what tell me she like me or she don't like me. What advice you can give me what to do? I just don't want to push too much to she that could show she up and tell me something hurtful. What advice you can give to do?
The advice I would give is for you to talk to your leader right? Whatever church community you're in. But if you like somebody, you could tell them. It's up to them to choose how they respond to that, right?
No, but-
So I mean, I think the point that you are proving that we're making is that our actions could cause persons to feel affection, right? So if you act lovingly to a person, if you have loving actions, it could make a person feel cared for, which is what happened there. But it's really up to the person to respond how they respond, right? Yeah. But I mean, you can talk to probably a male person in your church community, a pastor, to give you advice in terms of how, if you feel unsure about how to proceed,
No, because
right? And continue to make sure that your heart is connected to God and your relationship continues.
because
Yeah.
she's the one
I think
who
we need to call her. I think
Yes.
we need to.
We are running out of time, so I'll just
Yeah,
leave some
close off.
numbers. I'll just leave numbers with you. All right. So, guys, we are joined by Petreece Cuffie. We need to pull the curtains down on this topic, as Petreece has been dealing with affection and acceptance today. If you need to get in contact with her, her WhatsApp number is 329-7383. You can also check out her website at coffeeconsultant.com. You can follow her on Instagram at Petreece Cuffie 1470, and you can also check her out on Facebook at Petreece Cuffie and Associates, equipping people for life. I want to say good afternoon to Eden Thomas, Ria Das, said straight up facts, Petreece. These are persons on the Facebook Live. We also had Terry Ann and Sister Baldio with us this afternoon as well. So we want to say thank you so very much to you, Petreece, as you usually come on and give us this important information. And if you would have missed, you can head on over to FBN TV, that's on YouTube, and Isaac the Promise on Facebook. So I want to say thank you so very much, Petreece, until we connect again.
All right. Bye-bye.
All
God
right.
blessings to all of you.
God bless you too.
Hi, I'm Petreece Cuffie, counselor and trainer, and one of my deepest desires is to see people experience the fulfillment and growth that comes through healthy relationships. We are wired for relationships, so tune in and join with me as I explore and discuss tools for healthy relationships every Monday, 12:15 p.m. on Isaac 98.1 FM.